Hello. It's a face reveal. Wahaha. I thought it'd be fun. We can all see what kind of faces I'm making when I'm doing this. And this gives me an alternate for when my freaking tuber guy is in the way of all the character portraits. Instead of getting something left facing, I could just face cam. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how this works out. Yeah. Mmm. You smell so good. Amicus has me pinned to the floor on the little blanket that I brought with me. He's smothering me with his big body, grinding down against me as he licks and nips at my neck. I haven't even been here more than a minute. Wait, what if Calm sees? I gasp around the licks, and Amicus responds by holding my head in his giant paws, keeping me steady as he starts to push his hips against me, his thighs forcing my legs upward. Amicus mumbles into my throat. Then let him watch. Calm isn't watching, as far as I know. Somehow I'd been able to convince Cassius to give us more privacy. Actually, I think I just grossed him out when I'd asked, wrinkling his nose as he instructed Calm to keep the drone at the top of the ladder this time. At the moment, I feel the wolf's hard length pressing at my ass, and even though I'm in my underwear and robes, I pull back. Fun time to face cam. Whoa, not now, Amicus. Amicus goes on nuzzling me, moving to my face and locking lips with me for several seconds while he continues to push his hips against me. He finally pulls back a little. I know, I'm just playing around a little. I've been down here too long. I love you. Everything about you. Clearly. That's all I'm able to say before he starts to kiss me again, licking and sucking, and I'm at least glad that it tastes like they're providing him with that mouthwash stuff down here. I've never seen Amicus so horny before, which is saying something. His paws gripping and stroking at me almost desperately as his muzzle kisses every inch of my neck and face. He pushes his body down against mine, his considerable chest and belly crushing me flat against the ground. But when his muzzle starts dipping down lower, snuffling against my chest and under my robes, I decide I've had enough. I reach around to grab his upraised rear, getting a handful of thick, furry ass as my fingers squeeze dangerously close to the spot under his tail. Predictably, Amicus gasps in surprise and pulls back, quickly sitting up so that his rear is safely pressed against the blanket, and I have room to finally sit up myself. What was that for? For not letting me catch my breath. And I know you don't like things near your butt. Well, emperors shouldn't have things near their butt. I roll my eyes at his silly but understandable insecurity, and crawl up next to Amicus to sit in his lap, the wolf eagerly pulling me in. I love you. I love you too. Amicus rubs his paws up and down my arms and shoulders, still just feeling me out. I can't wait to get out of here. No more hiding when I'm emperor. I'm going to show you the real Adastra. Being stuck behind these walls is not how the emperor's beautiful lover should be treated. I touch back, pressing my hands over his paws and resting my head against his chest, listening to the rumble of his voice. Oh, and what's the real Adastra? Amicus pulls his paw away for just a moment to wave it dismissively before returning it to press against my chest. These politics. It doesn't represent the moon's true face. I need to take you to other cities and landscapes. The people are vastly different, too, from region to region. I listened to him contentedly for a few minutes, happy to just hear him speak again, reminded of how easy it is for us to just talk to each other. And we actually have time to talk. Kato is in a different city on official business, So Cassius has granted us at least a little more time than the last visit. Amicus rocks back and forth as I pet the fur on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. It's clear that they allow him to bathe down here, but the lack of any perfume leaves only the slight smell of his natural musk. While I miss the lavender smell I'm used to, I don't mind the masculine scent he's giving off, especially after our little reunion just now. I want to sit here forever, feeling completely calm and safe for the first time this week. I know it has to end, though. And there's so much to tell the wolf, so I pull back, looking up at Amicus's face. Amicus? Yes? I need to talk to you about something. Go on. Amicus leans down, pressing his nose against my hair and inhaling deeply. It's about the parents, I think. I need to talk to you about something they showed me. The snuffling in my hair pauses as Amicus absorbs what I just said. The parents? Yeah. The parents? I sigh, wondering if I'm going to have just as much trouble convincing Amicus of this as I did with everyone else. I still remember the look Neferu gave me when I told him about the drug trip I had. Amicus seems to sense my frustration and hugs me a little tighter. Hey, I'm just surprised. I believe you. I have no reason not to. He nuzzles my head again. Did they come to you in a dream, or... Sort of. I tell Amicus what happened in the hallway in front of the meditation room. What? I push through his shocked exclamation and go on to describe the dreams I'd been having as well. What? But why wouldn't you tell me this? I shrug against his body. I forgot about them as soon as I woke up. I didn't remember until after what happened with Cassius. Well... I feel Amicus's chest puff up with pride. Sounds like I really am meant to be emperor, eh? That's what they said. But you know what else this means? The monitors know I'm here. They're okay with it. So I guess it's not really even illegal, right? There's a pause. I mean, it may have been just a dream, but it's nice to hear nevertheless. Also, stay away from that room. While I find it funny that Cassius is using Somni to make contact, I'd rather you not use it. Amicus kisses the top of my head as I let out a sigh of exasperation. I didn't do it on purpose. And you said you'd believe me. Amicus lets out a chuckle that rumbles through his torso and into my back. It's a comforting feeling, and despite my annoyance, I find myself pressing deeper against him. I believe that you saw these things, but who can say if it was real or not? Sometimes I have dreams of entities that I believe are the parents, but I don't necessarily believe it is actually them. I'm quiet for a moment, letting the silence drag out, and I know Amicus well enough at this point that he's got his ears pointed up, waiting for me to respond. Trust me. Like, seriously, you do need to trust me on this, Amicus. Amicus spends his own moment before being quiet, resting his cheek against my head, contemplating. Do you trust me? There's only a short pause. All right, yes, I do trust you. There's a sense of conviction in his voice, and I can tell that he really is determined to believe me. Thank you. But I only say that because of something else that happened. What was that? I take a deep breath. Amicus, sensing my anxiety, suddenly turns me in his lap to face him, letting me lay my head against his chest as he pets the side of my face. Hey, you can tell me anything, Marco. Like I said, I believe you. He says it even more firmly this time, tipping his muzzle down to look at me as I look up at him, meeting eyes. Alright, so I was in the archives with Virginia yesterday. Amicus's eyes widen. The archives? What were you doing there? This reminds me that I also need to tell Amicus about what we've been plotting this past week. I'll tell you in a bit, but something happened when I was hooked up to the machine. You connected with it? Why would... In a bit. Anyway, while I was hooked up, I had another vision from the parents. Amicus thinks. Well, I suppose that would make more sense considering that's the way the Emperor speaks with them. But it's only the Emperor they speak to. Yeah, well, for whatever reason they started talking to me. Actually, you started talking to me. Me? I think so. You were like, yelling, telling me that you didn't want me to leave you. Oh, well, that does sound like something I would say in such a situation. But you sounded really scared and sad. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My throat hurt and just felt weird. Amicus seems to contemplate all this, but doesn't say anything more. I start to get frustrated, but I realize that I can't really expect him to offer more information that I don't already know. I guess I'd hoped that he would have more insight into why parents do the things the way they do. But really, I'm on my own figuring this all out. I sigh and lean my head against the wolf's chest. Hey, what's wrong? I'm sure you'll be fine. The parents are very mysterious. My father had several visions he had trouble interpreting. I feel like something bad is going to happen. Like, really bad. And I don't know what it is that I should do to stop it. Did they give you any guidance at all? They just said to give in to their benevolent will, or something like that. Amicus gently pushes me back so that he can look at me directly before he smiles gently. Well, there's your answer. The parents only want what is best for all of us. Just follow their guidance. Keep your mind and heart open to them, and all will turn out as it should. Those sentences wouldn't be out of place during a sermon in a church on Earth, and I'm reminded again how these parents really are seen as gods. It's a comforting thought that I could just do as they say and be just fine, made all the more comforting by Amicus's smile and confidence in the matter. But there's a nagging feeling in the back of my mind, that there's more to the parents than the wolves seem to know. I lower my voice a bit. I just don't know if I trust them. Amicus laughs, and that actually does annoy me. Hey, I'm serious. There's something off about all of this. Like the way they're going about things. If they want me to do something, then they should just tell me instead of showing me scary visions. Amicus forces himself to stop laughing and clears his throat, trying to look serious. I'm sorry, Marco. I just sometimes forget that you are outside the Galaxius and aren't accustomed to these things. The parents are nothing but benevolence and goodwill. We all feel their guidance in our lives, even if we're not able to speak to them directly like the Emperor. The fact that you are able to do so is an incredible honor. You should be happy, not worried. Amicus strokes my hair. Yeah, but don't you think me being an outsider gives me a different perspective on all of this? What if they aren't what they say they are? They are, and have no reason not to be. Amicus's voice becomes more firm, and I can tell that he's starting to become uncomfortable with my questions. My advice to you? Listen to them. They will help you and maybe even figure out a way to get us out of this mess. Besides, it's a great relief to know that you may be here for a reason. I'm starting to think I was meant to find you. Amicus hugs me again. I decide not to press further. I love and trust Amicus, but he's clearly on board with anything to do with the parents, and I doubt I'd be able to make him question that. Not that I really want to anyway, I just worry that I'm being led down a path that I really don't want to go down. Oh, Marco. Amicus, clearly sensing my continued anxiety, pulls me forward to kiss me. I kiss back and it feels good even though my stomach continues to churn. 10 minutes remaining, Marco. Com uses his loud voice to call down to us from the top of the ladder. Amicus and I saw in unified frustration. Wanna have a little fun before you go? I look down and I'm kind of amazed to see that he still has a boner, which makes me wonder how much he'd really been engaged in our conversation. I have to tell you... I catch myself and lower my voice. What we've been doing to get you out. You can do that. And other things at the same time. Amicus tries not to look too eager. I roll my eyes, but press my hand against his chest and draw it slowly down the wolf's front, over the curve of his stomach. He immediately moans quietly as I reach the lower part of his abdomen, and I see the bulge jump in his underwear as his hips even thrust up a bit too. I laugh at his eagerness, and I have to admit that it's kind of nice to have something more lighthearted to do while I discuss all of these troubling issues with my wolf. For the next little while, I walk around the gardens, taking advantage of the mild weather. I've noticed it's become cooler and less humid over the past week, which is nice. Apparently this is as cold as it gets on this part of Adastra, though, and it never snows. I sigh and sit on a bench, thinking back on my meeting with Amicus just an hour ago. It had been easier to say goodbye to the wolf this time, especially now that I know Cassius is willing to let us see each other as much as is possible. That being whenever Kato is out, which is good, because he's gone a lot of the time doing his official business or whatever. Amicus, once again, had recommended I distance myself from the plotting so as not to get caught up if we get exposed. I reassure him, even though I know I'm going to do whatever it takes to see this through, even if that means I will have to put myself in danger. I don't want Amicus to be down there for another day. Just yesterday, Cassius, or Kato, banned all talk of Amicus on Adastra, which Neferu told me only caused the rumors to really start flying. They range from Amicus being imprisoned, true, banished, or even executed. This is good for us, I'm told, because the public, whether they like Amicus or not, generally doesn't feel he should be struck from existence just because he lost the emperorship. In other words, the people will likely be on our side when we finally reveal everything. Hopefully. That's really all we can rely on, considering the Emperor holds so much power, even if the way it was achieved was illegitimate. The triumvirates barely check the Emperor's power, so unless the people as a whole come together, it would be difficult to remove Cassius from the throne. If Cassius still refuses to step down, our options will be very limited. And most probably won't turn out well for me, or anyone here that's not part of the family. Still, Cassius is proud. Very proud. Neferu and Virginia think he'll either step down or at least accept combat to go out with honor. Hopefully the first, because I really don't know how Amicus would deal with the idea of having to kill his brother. I sigh and lean back on the bench, really getting frustrated with all this political bullshit. This had been the exact type of thing Cassius wanted to get rid of, but now it just seems worse than ever. Just as I'm thinking this, I see Alex. He's just up the path, standing right in the middle of it. And he's looking right at me. I give a start, then just stare back at him. He doesn't move, just goes on looking at me, and I start to wonder what the hell he's doing. He doesn't have his usual smile on either. And as a soft breeze blows through the leaves and foliage, I start to feel like I'm in some kind of horror movie. Actually, now that I know who he really is, I do start to feel a little concerned about what he's capable of. So I decide to act casual and stand up, raising a hand and walking over to the cat. Hey, Alex. Alexios will do, Marco. Okay. Hi, Alexios. Ahotep be with you, Marco. That's the wrong voice. Is it? Is that the right voice? Whatever. What? I feel things should be more formal between us from now on. That is all. No, I mean, why that greeting? I'd heard Nefera use it many times, but no one else. You are a Chemian, are you not? That gives me pause. Oh, yeah, I guess I am. The cat smirks. Odd. You seem to have forgotten your own citizenship. I shrug. Still getting used to it. I mean, it's something that even some siblings desire, not to mention children. Or even the uncontacted. I raise an eyebrow. That's so. Certainly. Who wouldn't want to be a part of the most spoiled civilization in the galaxy? I sigh, still tired from thinking about all of this political maneuvering. Playing games with Alexios is the last thing I want to do right now. Cut the bullshit, Alex. What do you want? Excuse me? You're excused. I walk past the cat, listening to him sputter in surprise. You have some nerve to talk to a sibling like that. I frown, glancing back. What's that supposed to mean? You're not even a child, yet you throw your weight around here like you're the most important person in the palace. I laugh. Loud. I see the cat's ears pin back. Are you fucking kidding me? All of you assholes have been throwing me around with all your plots and fake niceties. I'm just trying to survive. Also, last I checked, Chemians are all equal, so I don't really give a shit if you're a sibling. Alex looks completely taken aback, which is completely satisfying. And haven't you always implied that the wolves are fucked up for looking down on their children and treating them like slaves? Alex coughs to clear his throat. My apologies. I simply lost my temper for a moment. You were just being a little rude. Or maybe deep down, you're just as speciesist, or whatever, as the wolves. Even though you try to pretend you're not. Neferu's the same way. Even I'm surprising myself a little. It's like the lid has finally blown off and I'm just using Alex to vent all of my frustration with this place. What has gotten into you, Marco? There's a long pause and I finally sigh, rubbing my face. Sorry, I think I'm losing my mind here. For the first time in a while, I see the cat crack a genuine smile. I can tell you then that you're not meant to be a diplomat. Definitely not. For a moment, I feel that old, familiar kinship I had with the cat not even a few weeks ago. I do believe that in any other situation, in one where we're not all spies, Alex and I could have been really good friends. I know that can't be the case now, though, so I stop smiling and look Alexios right in the eye. But seriously, what do you want? I can tell you're trying to get something out of me. Alex becomes serious too, smile fading. He considers me for a long while, probably realizing that I'm not going to play his little game. All right, Marco. Who are you? I know you're not an abandoned child. What is it that you want, and what are you doing here? So you want to know everything? Yes. And why should I tell you? Alex smirks. Why be blunt if we're going to play the game anyway, Marco? I'm just curious as to why you're so curious. I hardly matter in all of this. That is a complete lie. Everything has changed here since you arrived. This is why I want to know. But why does it matter that you know? I am an important link between Amorpha and Adastra. It is my job to know what is happening in this empire. Uh-huh. So, who told you that I'm uncontacted? Cassius? You've deduced correctly. But I also know that the monitors seem to approve of it, which is rather odd. Oops. I shrug. Again, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I don't see why I tell you anything if I don't know anything about you. Why, I'm just a simple pet. I don't know anything that's going on. His tone of voice tells me that he's mocking me. I raise an eyebrow, but don't say anything. Alex sighs. The simplest way I can explain it is that I'm trying to maintain peace in the Galaxias as a whole. That mainly involves watching the motives of the wolves. Why's that? Because they can be dangerous. Okay. Are none of the other siblings dangerous? Marco, Adastra is the only civilization in the galaxy to wage war on another sibling in over 10 millennia. And they were the perpetrators in the previous war as well. Not only that, but they waged war on an almost parent-level civilization. They're suicidal, and I can't imagine why the Chemians want an alliance with them. I think. Do you not want the alliance to happen? This seems to go against what Alex would want. I thought he wanted Amicus to take the throne. I want the Galaxias to remain safe. Is the alliance something you want to happen? I frown, wondering why he's asking me. I mean, to me it seems like it would create peace. So, yeah. Alex's eyes narrow, like he figured something out. What, do you want the wolves to stay isolated? I just want order. The wolves have none of that. The silence stretches out between us. I suppose you're still not going to tell me anything about yourself, then? I didn't say I would. And there really isn't much to tell. How about this? How did you secure Chemian citizenship? That's not something that's just given out to children who are presumed to belong to the wolves. The question takes me by surprise, though this whole Chemian thing does seem to be what's bothering him most, especially after his greeting. I think, but the truth doesn't seem harmful here. Honestly, it was just to protect me from Cassius. He doesn't really like me if you haven't noticed. The expression on Alex's face tells me that he definitely doesn't believe me. Cassius wouldn't harm you unless you did something that deserved it. He said he wanted to execute me because I backtalked him and Amicus slapped his nose. Alex's ears flatten. Cassius says things. He's very passionate. That's one way to put it. I shift on my feet, starting to get tired of this conversation. Listen, I have nothing against you, Alex. I'm just trying to get through this as much as you are. Neferu gave you the citizenship, right? Yeah. And you're working with him to make the Alliance a reality, correct? That stops me. What? No. No, I'm focused on Amicus right now. Alex glares. Which is still part of the Alliance. I guess so, but honestly, that's not really my top priority right now. It is part of your top priority. I'm getting frustrated, and I start to sidle off toward the palace. Yeah, we established that. Listen, I'm gonna lay down. I'm tired. Alex goes on staring and doesn't say anything. Again, I have nothing against you. I hope that we can just go back to normal in the future once this is over, you know? Indeed. With that, Alex turns and walks away up the path, leaving me to stare after him. I decide to ask Neferu about what happened with Alex. I know they had some kind of relationship going on, so maybe he can enlighten me on the cat's motives. My mouth is already open as I'm walking into the bedroom when I'm hit with a blast of sound. In front of me is Neferu with his back to me, though I can see that he's in his underwear. He's moving fluidly around, arms and paws waving about and pausing at odd angles, while his feet slide across the ground, gliding back and forth. At first I think he's doing some kind of exercise, but then I can hear him singing over the music. It's wordless because it doesn't translate through the lingua, just a sort of howling sound, though very different from the wolves. It's very loud, and it's a wonder I couldn't hear it in the hallway. It doesn't necessarily sound bad, but I can tell Neferu isn't putting much effort into making it sound nice. Still, I feel like I'm walking in on something private, so I consider backing out. Of course, that's when he spins around and immediately spots me standing there in front of the door, my mouth still open. Quickly, I fix my face into a pleasant smile, trying to act casual so I don't embarrass him. Oh, hey, Neferu, I pause as I see Neferu grinning back at me. I was just, you okay? I have to almost shout over the music. The jackal is swaying back and forth a little bit, almost like he's still dancing. Oh, Marco. What an incredibly pleasant and joyous surprise. Thanks? The jackal begins to dance again, facing me this time, though he doesn't sing, thankfully. Are you okay? Better than I've ever been, my simian friend. What do you think of the music? Neferu nods at the ceiling. It's nice. Kinda loud. I'm sorry. I need to hear the sounds from home every now and then. The wolves have no spice in their music. The jackal slides his paws sensually over his torso, smoothing the fur down to better accentuate his pecs and abs, his eyes glued to mine. I look around and note the 3 bottles of wine on the bedside table. Oh. You're drunk. I'm drunk. Neferu spins in a circle and actually almost loses his balance. Something I've never seen him do. I've seen him buzz before, but he's always managed to keep his composure. But now... How drunk? Too drunk, but... Neferu steadies himself against a pillar, leaning and rubbing his head against it. At the same time, not drunk enough. I quickly make sure the door is closed behind me before moving closer to the jackal. Do you need help? What? I raise my voice above the music. Do you? Neferu waves his paw at me. Wait. Come, pause the music. Pausing, Dancing Amongst the Dunes by Hegget. Hegget? That's a cue. I need another drink. Neferu reaches out toward the table, even though it's a good 10 feet away, and I look over to see that one of them is half full. There's a pause. Then Neferu opens his eyes, frowning at me. I said, I need a drink, Marco. And what do you think I'm going to do about that? You're a slave. You know what to do. I stare. Excuse me? You are a slave. Neferu pokes a finger in my direction with every word. Don't let the wolves tell you any different. As long as you are here, they are your master. But you were treating me like a slave just now. I was making... Neferu pauses as he makes a strange swallowing / hiccuping sound. I was making a point, clearly. Sorry, should I simplify my words for you? The jackal goes on staring at the bottle, as if wondering if it's worth it to make the journey there. He turns back to me, as if just remembering that I'm there, though he seems to have trouble focusing his eyes. Don't worry, Marco. I'm just as much a slave as you are. You have the advantage of someday leaving, though. I move closer, deciding to sit on the bed while Neferu goes on hugging at the pillar, as if letting go will cause him to fall. That wouldn't be good, considering the fountain is right there. You can't leave whenever you want? Neferu chuckles, then guffaws, another sound I've never heard from him. You don't understand. I can leave, but I can't leave. Yeah, I don't think I do understand. Suddenly Neferu's ears flatten. You really fucked this up for me. Do you understand that? I blink. What? You fucked my life. This time Neferu uses his foot to point at me. Or really just some sort of kicking it in my direction. What the hell are you talking about? If you hadn't come here, Kato would not have had the excuse to nullify Amicus's emperorship. I would be halfway through negotiating an alliance by now. Wait, this isn't my fault. I was brought here against my will, Neferu. Neferu makes another deep swallowing sound, then just belches loudly. Yes, I'm sorry. I forget it's mostly that big idiot's fault. I feel my temper snap and I stand up. Now is not the time I wanted to find out that my most important ally actually blames me and my boyfriend for the situation he's in. Hey, I know you're drunk, but I'm not gonna listen to you say this shit. You can call me back when you've sobered up and stop feeling sorry for yourself. I start walking toward the door quickly, feeling a little sick at the whole situation. If Neferu really is turning on me, that means the only person I can trust here is in the dungeon. I really would be alone. Wait. His voice is so quiet that I'm almost not even sure I'd heard it. I pause, though, looking back over my shoulder. He's still leaned up against the pillar, his ears down, gazing at the ground. I'm about to ask him to repeat himself, but that's when he suddenly lets out a gasp and slides down the pillar to his knees. He crumples on the ground, paws covering his face as he trembles and starts to sob loudly. I'm
so sorry. I don't know what I'm doing.
I stare, open mouth, watching the jackal cry for several seconds. Apparently, too drunk means way too drunk. Still, this jackal clearly has a lot of problems that he doesn't tell anyone about. Actually, he doesn't really have anyone to tell them to on this alien moon. At least I have Amicus. So, after standing there in stunned silence for a moment, I walk over to Neferu. I stand awkwardly at his side for a moment, watching his broad, black-furred shoulders heave up and down before I kneel and rest at a hand on his back. I see his ears perk up for a moment in reaction, but otherwise he doesn't say anything. I'm generally not the best at comforting someone, especially when they're crying, but I rub up my hand in a circle through the fur. Hey, I get it. This whole thing is really frustrating, but we'll figure this out together. I give the jackal a few minutes to finally calm down. Then I start to pull him up, pushing him in the direction of his bed. He doesn't resist and stumbles up to it before falling face down onto the covers. He wipes his face with the pillow, and while he does that, I quickly grab the wine bottles, moving them to the floor so that they're out of reach. Finally, Neferu lets out a big, shuddery sigh.
Can you rub my back again? It feels good.
The jackal's voice is stuffy from his clogged nose. Sure. I kneel beside the bed before starting to rub Neferu's back again. He sighs, head turned away from me. I let the silence go on for a while, listening to the jackal sniffling every couple of seconds before I finally speak. So, what happened? I drank. Yeah, speaking of which, Calm, bring us a glass and pitcher of water, please. Yes, Marco. And, take the wine bottles away, too. Yes, Marco.
No, my precious woven wine.
And the Pharaoh says it in a mock, sad voice. But combined with his already sad state, there's not much of a difference. Again, what happened?
I don't know. I suppose I realized how challenging this will all be. I can't say I trust the Wolven people to oust Cassius. They're rather accepting of corrupt officials.
I think, trying to approach this delicately. Is your family making you do this? Like they won't let you come back unless you cultivate the alliance?
My family doesn't even expect me to accomplish that. But that's why I must do it. If I don't, I might as well be banished.
It seems kind of unfair they'd put all of this on you.
After what I've put them through, it's only fair.
I wait for more of an explanation, but he doesn't go on. So, is what Alex said on the island about you and your family true?
More or less.
Again, he doesn't seem interested in talking about it, so I just go on, rubbing his back. Well, we're gonna get Amicus out of the dungeons and onto the throne. I know you don't believe that I've talked to the parents, but I really think I have, and they're on our side. Neferu chuckles. So you'll get that alliance.
I hope so, my friend.
We sit in silence for a long while, and even I start to enjoy the hypnotic motion of rubbing Neferu's furry back in a large spiral motion. My mind wanders back to the cat. Speaking of Alex, I had a weird conversation with him today. I think he thinks we're like conspiring against him or something. Neferu grunts.
Stay away from that cat. He's nothing but trouble.
Well, he kept bringing up the Alliance. He seemed to want to know my role in it. Neferu turns his face toward me, his eyes bloodshot, but the tears dried up at this point.
I assume it had something to do with not wanting the Alliance to happen.
Yeah. Neferu takes a deep breath and presses his face into the pillow, letting out a long groan.
All I can say is don't trust him.
Yeah, definitely not. I just don't really get what he's doing.
Neither do I. And that's why you should stay away from him.
Really? I thought you two, I don't know, talked and did stuff together.
Which didn't shed any light on his motives. Considering the way our relationship has changed, I doubt I'll get any more information from him.
Sure you can't just seduce him again? Neferu cracks a smile.
Last time I tried that, he referred to me as a whore, which isn't exactly inaccurate.
The doors open and a drone glides in, setting water down on the bedside table and fetching the bottles from beside the jackal's bed. Neferu watches it go morosely. I clear my throat, trying to distract him from the departing alcohol. I get what you mean, though. It seems like he favors one side, then the other. I don't get it. Neferu waves his paw.
Best not to worry yourself with him and simply stay away. Amorphins are famous for their quirks and seemingly contradictive behavior.
All right. I rub for a while longer, switching hands as my arms start getting tired. I'm starting to think that the jackal has fallen asleep when he suddenly speaks again, jolting me out of my trance.
We will be revealing our hand to Cassius tomorrow. With any luck, Amicus will be free by the end of the week.
Oh. I'm surprised, finding that hard to take in. I knew this would be coming, but not so soon. How are we going to do that?
Well, we have 3 pieces of information that can help us. The first is the footage from the 3rd trial. Hopefully, that will be enough to convince Cassius to step down.
Neferu suddenly shifts and slowly sits up, groaning again before reaching for the pitcher and glass of water.
The second is the footage of Kato attacking me. I'd rather we not have to use that, but if Cassius isn't convinced by the first, then we may have to resort to it.
Neferu drinks deeply from his glass, and I watch him impatiently as he drains the entire thing. And the third? Neferu gasps and leans back, setting the glass down.
Remember your little theory about the previous Emperor's accident?
I nod. Alex said the investigation was botched. Neferu glances at me.
The fact that the cat tipped you off is worrying. But it is very odd. The investigation wasn't botched, but rather called off by the acting Emperor.
Kato?
Indeed. The investigators were only able to get as far as discovering a possible malicious software installed on the ship's navigation system. Considering software has to be installed through a port, and that the ship is heavily protected whenever outside the palace, the installation likely would have had to have happened, well, inside the palace.
So, Kato? Neferu chuckles.
More than likely, yes. But I don't understand why. Kato was good friends with the last emperor, and as far as I can tell, he was supportive of his policies.
Well, how people act on the outside doesn't really seem to matter much around here.
or anywhere. What convinced me of Kato's involvement, however, is the fact that every single investigator has gone missing since. What? I start to feel that icy fear in my chest again. If it is Kato, then he really is ruthless. What I saw happen to that doctor, Felix, could only be a taste of what Kato was capable of. Unfortunately, because there is no solid evidence linking Kato, I'm afraid it might not be very effective. It could be another last resort, though. Anyway, would you like to go with Virginia to try and convince him with this information? Really? You've been trying to get me to stay out of the way for the past week. To keep you safe. But I've noticed that Cassius may have taken a liking to you as of late. You know him to some degree and could use that knowledge to help better convince him. Well, I wouldn't say he likes me, but yeah, I can try. And as I said, Virginia will be there to help as well. I assume you're not going? Neferu smirks. I am the last person he would want to see while discussing the possible end of his rule. Besides, I know I'm not going to be feeling my best tomorrow. I think I'll stay in bed for once. Drink more water. Neferu sighs, just sort of looking at the pitcher. I roll my eyes, reaching out to pour him another glass. Oh, how kind of you. I'm a slave, right? Neferu winces as he takes the glass from me. No. You're a Chemian, and I think we'll be very proud to have you. With that, he once again downs the entire thing. I toss and turn most of the night, even while Neferu snores loudly in his own bed. I go over what I might be able to say to Cassius, in case things go wrong for whatever reason. I find that difficult to do, though, especially considering how angry and unpredictable the wolf can be sometimes. I manage to get maybe a couple hours of sleep. But as soon as the sun starts shining through the opening in the roof, I'm up and ready for Virginia to come get me. That doesn't happen until about an hour later, and Neferu only lifts his head for a moment when the wolf enters before groaning and dropping it back to the pillow. I'm hoping that he doesn't remember what happened yesterday, for his sake. The amount of anticipation in the air is almost too much for me to handle as I follow Virginia to the throne room. It's a feeling that I haven't felt since the trials, since when I thought I was about to be able to fly back home. Now, though, it's the anticipation that I'll be able to get Amicus out of the dungeons. We pause at the door, Virginia glancing at me. Remember, speak only if absolutely necessary. This is of the utmost importance. I nod silently. I get the feeling that she hadn't wanted me to come, but Neferu probably insisted. The wolf reaches out and presses the panel, opening the door. I follow her in and immediately spot Cassius on his throne, still on his little booster seat, but there's someone else too. We'd chosen today because Kato still hadn't returned from his trip, thus leaving Cassius alone. Now, though, Alex is here, kneeling beside the throne, his head on the armrest while Cassius strokes his head, the other paw occupied with a tablet-like device. He glances up. Ah, sister. And Marco. What was it you needed? Virginia is silent until we stop at the base of the steps.
I come to a stop just behind her, to her left. Cassius narrows his eyes as he looks down at us, probably realizing that this is no ordinary visit. Meanwhile, Alex just stares at us inquisitively, looking innocent and oblivious as he always tries to. Brother, I have something very, very important to discuss with you. Cassius regards her for a moment, then glances at me. Why is he here? It involves him. It involves all of us, actually. Cassius frowns deeply, expression growing more and more sour. And what is it, Virginia? Virginia takes a deep breath. Cassius, you must abdicate. It takes Cassius a moment to take that in. But when he does, his eyes widen and his nostrils flare, leaning back in his throne like he's been slapped. Excuse me? I wonder if this is the best way to go about telling Cassius that we're about to try and take the throne from him. I look around, wondering if there are any drones that he might use to blast us with. Cassius, we all know that this is illegitimate. You must consider... Enough! I will hear no talk of this. From my own sister, no less. Leave at once. The young wolf is shaking in his seat, wide-eyed, ears flat. Well, you must hear it. I must not. I followed every protocol. I am in my rightful place. Leave now, or I will have the drones escort you. Alex is sitting up straight now, staring at us, his ears perked, and I kind of wish that we could have had him leave the room. Virginia remains calm, simply gazing back up at Cassius with an almost stoic look. Brother, you must hear it because we have proof of your deception. Cassius seems to have recovered from his initial shock, though he's still trembling a bit, chest heaving for breath. What proof? Virginia takes a deep breath. You know that we already know about the staging, but we have footage of the third trial. All of it. Cassius stays quiet, unsure of what to say. We have contacts in Adastra that will release it to the public tomorrow evening. Cassius swallows hard. I will close the news channels. Not only to the news channels, but in portable formats as well that may be copied and spread. You will not be able to stop all of it. Cassius opens his mouth, then closes it, then opens it again, then closes it. He didn't see this coming at all. Finally, his shoulders drop and he stares at the floor. Virginia, how could you do this to me? Virginia frowns, actually looking a bit sad. How could you take the throne in such a dishonest manner? Mother taught you better. Do not speak of Mother! Cassius's response is instant and angry before he deflates again. The silence stretches out for a while before Virginia speaks again. I know you, Cass. I know you're an honest, honorable wolf. I know you don't want the emperorship like this. Cassius goes on, staring off into space. Do you even want to be emperor, Cassius? Virginia looks sharply over at me, but I ignore her for now, looking right up at Cassius. He turns his gaze slowly to me. What sort of question is that? Remember when we saw the parents together? Cassius instantly bristles, his ears turning a deep red. You remember what they said, right?
I don't remember.
Sure. Anyway, you know what the parents think, what they want. Just listen to them. They only want what's best for the Empire. Cassius closes his eyes, taking a deep breath.
Why are you doing this to me?
He says it quietly, and I'm not sure if he's talking to me, Virginia, or the both of us.
Because we also want what's best for the Empire, Cassius. And that involves a legitimate emperor that rightfully sits upon the throne. I can't just abdicate. How many emperors have ever even done that? The humiliation would be too great.
For the first time, I hear some resignation in Cassius's voice, and I actually do believe that he doesn't want this emperorship anymore. I jump in again. We can make up any story you want, Cassius. It doesn't have to be a shameful thing. We can make it seem honorable. Even though I think it already is if you do step down. Again, Cassius is silent, and I can only imagine all of the things that are going through his head right now. He knows that the release of the footage will destroy his image, cause unrest, probably to the point that he'd never be able to recover if he remained on the throne. He already knows that he's been beaten. Alex, meanwhile, continues to sit at his side, just staring at the two of us. I'm surprised he hasn't said anything at all. And again, I'm not sure whose side he's on.
Also, you need to demote Kato from advisor. Otherwise, he will become acting emperor again.
Cassius looks sharply at us. We know he's behind all of this. That you're a puppet, Cassius. Cassius bristles, and Virginia shoots me another warning look. But you're still the Emperor. You have complete power over your advisor. You can easily cut those strings. Cassius looks about ready to say something, to protest. But again, he slumps down, just glaring at his knees.
That would automatically make Amicus Emperor.
It's not a question, just a defeated statement. We don't say anything.
I suppose he was always destined to be that. I was a fool to think I could make this work.
Virginia's ears perk up, and I feel a swooping feeling like in my chest, like I just missed a step. Alex just looks up at Cassius, frowning. Cassius shakes his head.
I'll need to think. You said tomorrow evening? The 14th hour.
Cassius sighs again, then nods.
I see. I will make an announcement tomorrow after breakfast. I need to meditate. Certainly.
Cassius drops his paw to his lap and picks up the glass tablet again. And just like that, we're dismissed. As Virginia turns to go, I quickly speak up. Cassius? Can I see Amicus again? He rolls his eyes.
Gods. Yes. In fact,
he looks up at the ceiling.
Set Marco's access to the dungeons as unrestricted. He'll be free by tomorrow anyway, I'm sure.
Thank you. I bow because it feels like the right thing to do. But Cassius only grunts in response. I then quickly follow Virginia out into the hallway, almost skipping with relief and excitement. Holy shit, that was easy! I whisper to the she-wolf as she maintains that stoic look.
It really was, wasn't it? It seems that Cassius isn't enjoying his position on the throne after all.
Did he think it would be easy?
I think he never looked past beating Amicus. Now that he has, well...
I shake my head. If that was his only reason, then he deserves this.
Well, I don't believe it was his only reason. He simply didn't prepare himself beyond the trials.
Virginia side-eyes me.
And don't get too excited just yet. Nothing is final until Cassius says the words.
Yeah, but it looks like he's definitely going to.
It does, yes. But remain careful and vigilant. Also,
Virginia pauses as we reach a branch in the hallway, where we would part ways so that I can go to the dungeons. I stop and look up at her, stepping from one foot to the other, eager to tell Amicus the news.
You've noted my loyalty to Amicus over the past week, yes?
Yeah?
At the very least, this would be deserving of some type of official position, don't you think?
You want to be chief advisor, right?
Yes. And you are very close to him.
I'll get him to make it happen. The wolf almost looks shocked. I don't know why, though. I'd assume this was always part of the plan.
Thank you, Marco.
Of course. I'll see you later today. I leave the wolf standing there, trying not to walk too fast on my way to the dungeons. That's what we'll call it for this one. I feel like that... Did that come out? I feel like I messed up a word in there. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Yeah! Definitely gonna be a nice and easy one next time. For sure. Yeah. Fun times coming. Woo! As always. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time. Hope you liked it. Blah, blah, blah. Bye.